So the news rolled out recently, don't know if you caught wind of it. It's like a noxious, gaseous wind that only the machinations of an evil fart can push out. But this news is that Bethesda will not be using a new engine for The Elder Scrolls 6 or for Starfield. Now, if you think my fart metaphor just then was a little bit overdramatic, let's just take a moment to step back. I'd like to put things in perspective here in case any of those blind Bethesda fanboys are watching. Fallout 76 is coming out very soon. In fact, it's probably out by the time you watch this. Reviewers all around, and I mean all around, with both the voices of YouTube and supposedly journalistic websites, are not happy with it.
And what I basically expressed was that unless Bethesda starts to show drastic improvements in their framework and game-making tools they've been using for decades now, maybe it's time for a change.
Our game, it's gonna be some battle royale thing, it's gonna be a fucking card game, or worse, maybe like some online survival piece of shit.
It's a confusing thing because, they switched to PBR materials, which is nice, and honestly, the modeling quality of the interiors is perfectly acceptable for this type of game, but the way their lighting seems to work in this engine and the way it's been applied to the art and, the look of the game, it just doesn't work. I mean, it's missing a lot of like the contact shadows and it just feels really kind of bland and flat. It doesn't look like you would expect from a 2018 game.
Bethesda even went as far as putting on tweets urging people on the PC platform to not press play on the game launcher, because in doing so, it will result in the launcher deleting your 50 gigabyte download of the beta. This was so ridiculous. I laughed because it's just typical Bethesda.
There's the little things, like the fact that it's running on an engine from the Triassic period. So if you've got a monitor with a refresh rate over 60 Hz or prefer an FOV wider than a horse with blinders, prepare for your eyes to bleed unless you want speed hacks, since the game's physics are tied to its frame rate. And apparently messing with your FOV can break the game too. And yes, you can get speed hacks in this game just by editing an INI file.
Fallout 76, more like meme 76. It is such a shit game.
Or whatever on a Sam. Hey. Did you end up playing Fallout? I did. So fucking bad. Like, incredibly bad.
It really does just look like they're just taking Fallout 4, adding multiplayer to it, and trying to resell you a game. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, that's what it looks like. And I hear, shockingly, gee, a Bethesda game, that Fallout 76 is a technical mess. So, have fun with that.
Now, you've likely seen your share of commentary on the subject, but a sticking point across all parties are that the graphics are, shall we say, unacceptable. This is, of course, Bethesda's creation engine that they seem to love so goddamn much that they haven't lifted a finger to make it much better since Oblivion. Let's see here. When did it come out? 2006! They haven't made any considerable leaps in how they present their games in more than a decade. You can sit there if you like and say, yeah, but man, great games aren't all about the graphics, and this is true. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I've played my share of games with graphics that belong not in the now, and they've been alright. So sit down, you angsty keyboard warriors. But if Fallout 76 is the visual standard we should expect from Bethesda's games that are for the next generation, I mean, people en masse are saying that 76 is looking like a PS2 game, and it's rife with bugs to boot, so how awful are their two next-gen titles going to look? So what do I think is going on here? Well, laziness in the name of a quick buck, really, but that's not a proper answer, is it? Laziness plays a big part in it, for sure. I mean, Bethesda could have spent all those years making a new game that fitted in the year that it came out, instead of wasting all that time stroking themselves off over a one-hit wonder that they released in 2011. If toasters had screens on the side of them, I wouldn't be surprised if they released a playable version of Skyrim with those. Releasing it on every goddamn electronic item that they possibly can, and when they were done with that, they were like, hey, everyone grab it again on console at full price, because it's slightly shinier. Yeah, and it has all the same bugs in it as before, and those graphical enhancements you made have been available on PC from the start, and then some, thanks to the modding community literally making your lazy-ass game releases better. Alas, I spiral into rantage. I apologise. What was the question again? Yeah, it was really what was going on here with this apparent studio laziness. Well, for one, all of you suckers who bought their re-released Skyrim on console have proven to them that they don't have to do much to turn a buck. You've helped them realise that the name Bethesda has been put on a big digital podium up on high with badly designed god rays spilling out from behind it. They've also got a growing monopoly on the modding community, and it's because of their creation engine. They literally release identical mods to those that have come before and for free for a hefty price, and they laugh their asses off to the bank. A glorified example of this is the camp building that we now see in Fallout 76. It was already done by a modder for Fallout 4. Heck, Fallout 4 was basically half a Fallout game that asked you to build the rest of it. With the kind of quality on show in their games, or the lack thereof, it's worth remembering that Bethesda is not scraping the bottom of the barrel for the pennies to fund their next project. They can totally build a new engine. But why bother? They know they don't have to, because those worshipping at the Bethesda God Ray podium will drink their dirty bathwater if it meant getting a cardboard copy of a game disc for free. The irony of that, I hope, is not lost on you. So in a nutshell, they can delay the release of their next game by spending money on paying staff to work on a new engine, or they can save all that money and just release a polished turd, because they know there's a bunch of suckers out there who believe they're not being utterly ripped off as consumers. And going back to the graphics aren't everything crowd, just take a look at the standard of open world games that we have in this generation. Batman Arkham Asylum was incredibly detailed when you slowed down and really paid attention. Bet you thought I was going to mention Red Dead 2, didn't you? Come on, that's so obvious. For this point, it goes without saying. The latest Assassin's Creed games go back to 2015, and you have The Witcher. No, graphics aren't everything, friends, absolutely not. But Bethesda's lazy attitude is a worrying precedent, because they're saying that they believe they can get away with releasing below standard games. And what scares the hell out of me is that they're probably right. Activision just released Black Ops 4 and it's barely a game, so much as a bunch of DLCs on one disc. And they're making money hand over fist. Like my favourite YouTuber Gundam said recently, people are going to be playing Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 after Cyberpunk. Like comparing The Witcher 3 to Fallout 76, they're going to be like, yeesh, what is this shit? I think we need to pull our heads out of our asses a little bit. It's not just EA and Activision that actively seek out methods of less work and still make more money. Bethesda is now up there too. So don't be one of those blind-ass fanboys who are like, oh, Bethesda though, boys! It's a Bethesda game though, boys! I hate to break it to you, but those days are gone. Do you think people are going to play Anthem and say, oh, BioWare though, innit, boys? BioWare! No. Nobody's hyped for that game. They're forcing themselves into a position where they don't have the technical know-how to keep up with the rest of the industry. Those cracks are showing now with 76. Heck, maybe in 10 years' time, I'll say stuff about CD Projekt Red. Maybe I'll say they had their heyday and now they just shill for some evil entity that pulls their strings. On that note, I'd like to remind you that Bethesda, your oh-so-virtuous company, is owned by ZeniMax, who in turn are pulling their strings. The money go round leads to this pecking order, a hierarchy of who is the bitch. Shit rolls downhill, you know? And it wouldn't surprise me if some bigwig at ZeniMax was like, those dopey plebs will buy your shit. Why spend more of our money than you need to? Yeah, see? Todd's nodding his head over there. He gets it. You got that juicy trailer ready, Todd? Ah, that's my boy. Good little bitch. Now, bend over. The only people making Bethesda look good right now are the underdogs that have their own engines, like ID for Doom, or Machine Games for Wolfenstein, which uses the ID Tech engine. And on that note, so does Rage 2. I think it's going to be pretty good. And with these titles in mind, it says something that the underdog developers, working for their publisher overlords Bethesda, are making games that look better and function better, leagues ahead of what Bethesda is crapping out themselves. I don't know what it says, but it says something. I'll have to get back to you on that one. And with that, I'm done. I'm going to stop now, or I'll just keep going round and round in circles until there's a freaking tornado, sweeping up limited edition overpriced game packages with plastic and now cardboard tat inside of them. If you enjoyed this package of what I hope was an entertaining nerd rage, then go ahead and subscribe. I hear YouTube is not exactly a paragon of virtue either, treating small channels like myself like crap. I think there's a little alarm bell you need to press too. Maybe in the future you'll have to click subscribe, ring the bell, pull the lever, press another button, and, well, if all of that's happened by the time you watch this, just go ahead and do all of those things too. And if it ain't worth the effort and you'd rather just get on with your day, well, I can hardly blame you. Whatever you choose, I bid you a good day. Until next time, fellow gamers, this is Nick for the Game Sesh, signing out for now. Take care.